We have 3 trains booked this week, but the 926 keeps breaking down. It's time to get the bagging plant wired up and working, and we follow the crane hook load around for a day and see what it gets up to. I'm Daniel, and this is Ashville Weekly, episode 84. A good meeting, but very quick. I'm surprised they didn't do it themselves, but, you know, my hands are really soft. They're all gonna come to the job and they're gonna have a measure up. We're gonna pull out the 1.5 ton machine. Ollie can jump straight back in, sort the mud flap out. Nah, you're too tight. We're gonna buy 2 vibrators and we need to create a gap. We're gonna build some hoarding, open it up. Lovely. We have some people that hate it. If you want an emergency stop out, I want problems, always. Monday and I'm in the yard. Was a good week last week. Our client meeting, going through the specifications for the property, went really well. Now we are planning everything. We're putting those notes together. We're going to come up with some renders, and then we're going to share those renders with the client, show the samples which were chosen, and again, that plan may change. But doing that reminded me of a plan I had many years ago, just to show that plans never stay the same. They evolve and change the entire time. I was trying to buy some land over in Essex, and I was going to create something called the Ashville Design Centre. This was basically 2 levels where you could walk through a building and you would see every single flooring, tile, toilet, bath. There were going to be even bifold doors. I was going to have indoor, outdoor with turf and patio. It was basically taking all different specialist shops like bathroom shops, kitchen shops, paving areas, and putting it all in one place and specifying properties. It never happened because the land I was trying to buy, the seller pulled it at the last minute. It just goes to show that plans can change and evolve, and sometimes the things you think are the worst thing at the time can turn out to be the best. In other news, the train has turned up. Let's see it get offloaded. Train came in earlier this morning successfully. We have another train tomorrow morning. So what we're going to do is get the 926 up on the pile and move all the material to the back of the bay to make as much space as we possibly can at the front, so we're ready for the morning. This lorry went into Scania over the weekend and has come back into the yard today, and they sent us a bit of a list of work that needs to be done on it. Now Scania must be upset with us because I'm surprised they didn't do it themselves, but you know, we're going to do it. So on the body blocks, we just have to readjust them and tighten them up, sort the mud flap out. We have a few panels on the lorry that need to be pushed back out. We need to add a few pop rivets, and they pointed out here the damage on the front. This lorry was damaged 2 years ago. I'm not going fixing that. I'm spending £800 or £900 to go and fix the front of that. Next thing you know, someone bashes it again. There's no sharp pieces on there. It's nothing dangerous, so that will stay as it is. So we're going to fix those other bits so this lorry can go out tomorrow morning. Tuesday, and I'm on the phone.
Please hold.
Look at that. Answered it and put me on hold.
You there?
I am. Would you mind you the size of your big face? You're pressing buttons on the phone, putting me on hold.
Yeah, my second chin hit the mute button. I heard the best one ever.
Tell me, what's the best one ever?
Someone said you were a model. I said it must have been shoes he was modelling.
Well, don't worry, I weren't taking any of your modelling work.
I was a model back in the day. The model tipper driver, yeah. There's not too many of them about. Apart from that, everything's going hunky-dory.
Oh, wow. Can't believe I just heard that.
Just walking out the front now to see how many standing up looking at each other. No, everything's good out the front. No one's standing talking. This is good.
Oh, what a great day.
What were you modelling anyway? Was it boots or shoes?
No, it was hand modelling, like my hands, because I've never done a day's work in my life. My hands are really soft and nice.
Well, everybody says that, don't they?
Yeah.
They reckon to me, but I didn't want to comment on it. They're in the work was in the bed, you'd sleep on the floor.
Well, so everyone just calls you coating me. That's nice, isn't it?
No, I didn't coat you. I'm just telling you what they're saying out there in the industry.
Oh, man.
You're half man, half mattress.
I've had worse things said about me. You ain't heard what they say about you.
I'm thick-skinned, don't worry me now. I'm too long at the job to worry about other people. We sail our own boat. When it takes on water, it takes on water.
I hear that. Oh my God, there's one of yours next to me now. What's going on here? How's there one of yours next to me? What is going on here?
I'll start telling you about the West London and the North London. We're the North London and West London tipper mafia. You call me and Meone and whatever you call the geezer of the tipper world.
Don Corleone, and that was the Godfather.
That's him.
Yeah.
He used to have a tipper as well.
Don Corleone had a tipper.
Yeah, but he got sick of it and sold it.
Because he's a smart man, that's why.
What are you up to anyway? What's going on?
No, and I went to a meeting this morning, going back to the yard. There's a train in, offloading. I'm not sure if this train went past one of your railheads, of the 10 railheads you've got, but...
We've already had 2 loads in this morning.
Yeah, you've had 2 trains in this morning already.
We had 45 wagons on the first train this morning, and I think it was 38 on the second train. They're already offloaded, mate, and they're already gone.
Right. They've already managed that at 8 o'clock.
Railheads in North London.
One of the biggest railheads in North. Okay. Well, that's
one of the biggest heads in North London. I don't know about the railheads. Change that picture of me with that joking bus in my hand. My fans don't like it.
Why am I changing the picture of you? It's a great picture. The picture's very accurate. You got 1 shirt, you got 1 jumper, and you're playing with an Ashville tipper. It's a great one. What do you want us to change the picture to?
I've got to have a nice one of me in my suit. More managerial look.
You got enough managers, more than the Premiership.
Where are they this morning when I need them? Let's see what we got in the back lane, mate. Today I'm like, what's his name? David Attenborough. Oh, we have a skip lorry and a grab lorry today. They're in the bushes.
I got a grab in my rear mirror, one of mine.
Probably broke down. I've done my patrol now, everything seems to be going according to plan.
So you march around the yard, the perimeter is secure, and now you can return to your post. Yeah. You can return to the lamppost.
Now we're going to return to have coffee in the office with the managers.
Are you still drinking coffee out of glasses because you've got no cups?
I've seen them Donovan mugs, they're better than them Ashville mugs. The difference between our mugs and your mugs, mine are smaller and they're drinking quicker, so they won't be hanging about so long.
Mine are a lot stronger and they look a lot nicer and they'll last a bit longer.
Yours are too big and it takes them longer to drink it, so they're standing about longer talking and drinking the coffee. Mine are smaller. They drink it quick and they're back in action in no time at all.
Yours will probably get holes in them and break down like your lorries, so I think they probably prefer mine.
No, ours are quality built in China. The finest of Chinese craftsmanship. White with red writing and...
Nah. You are too tight, man.
Cups.
Nah, you're too tight. Nice. How can O'Donovan cups be white with red writing? They're meant to be red with white. Come on, you're too... Because you didn't want to pay... You're so tight, you wouldn't give someone last year's calendar. Like, how can you...
Yeah, I'll do the jokes, yeah. What about your lads? What time they start? About 8, 9 o'clock? Well, it would have been this morning because you weren't there.
My drivers get in the yard between 5:45 and 6, have a quick coffee in the lorry, do their checks.
A very serious question now. How do you know they get in at that time when you don't have...
What are you talking about? I'm here
I've already explained to you, half man, half mattress. Ring me any time you want at 6, my friend.
I was ringing you that early, you weren't answering.
Oh, I must be in the middle of a meeting or something. We have a lot of meetings at that time in the morning.
All right, well, I'm in the yard here. There's a train here. We're offloading. So it looks like we're working well. It looks like things are happening in here today as well.
We will speak very soon, yeah?
All right, mate.
Go on, mate. Take care. Have a good day. Speak
you too, mate.
Later.
See you, bye.
Bye, mate.
Michael O'Donovan, as always. Just arrived in the yard here, and I can see that the train is getting offloaded. Let's have a look how that goes. It's good that we got 2 trains so far this week and another one tomorrow because we can build up stocks because we were hand to mouth for a little while. Had a meeting yesterday afternoon with my chief financial officer and he extracted some data from the system and he built me a little model of the business. I was looking at some of our overheads which are fixed, so stuff like rent, rates, which have now changed, and other expenses. We were looking at those, and then we were looking at what could change to increase revenue. So by our calculations, with our existing cost base, if we invested in a couple more tippers, we have the initial outlay of a deposit, diesel, driver, insurance, and a bit of maintenance, but that cost in the grand scheme of things is all relative to that lorry generating revenue. Irrespective if we got 5 or 10 more lorries, our overheads of the actual business itself aren't going to change, but we'd be able to generate more revenue. Now you may ask like why I'm looking at new lorries after all the things I say, and then companies going into administration, and do you know why? Because I don't like peace. I want problems. Always. Let's go and have a look around the yard. It was raining earlier, but now the sun started shining again. Had to jump in my car and go to a meeting. It's about an hour's drive. Credit to the driver, Nick, who drives this. There was an oil leak on it, and it was the filler pipe, what takes the oil back to the engine. He spotted it, we've parked him up. Terry's run down to Volvo to get the pipe, because it's not like a hose that we can get made. It's something we need to buy from Volvo. We're going to put it back on this and send it out. Finished my meeting on the way back to the yard. Just had a conversation with someone about batch implants and bottle mixers, but they raised an interesting point. We don't want the batch implant tomorrow, so it will be a while before we have it, and we're going to need to plan. If we are going to be getting it in the future, I need to start looking at the new forms of concrete, like the eco-friendly materials. So I've done a little bit of reading on it, but I'm going to need to do a bit more homework about making concrete that is more sustainable and more environmentally friendly, so we can make it in a way that we can still compete with people selling normal concrete like what we're selling at the moment. News from the yard is that we have a problem with the 926. I believe it's an AdBlue issue. It's happened a couple of times. Liebherr said they're going to come in the morning as well. There is a problem with the loading shovel. I hear there's a bit of a leak on it. So when Liebherr are looking at the 926, they look at the loading shovel at the same time. Making my way through some back streets, trying to beat the traffic, but it isn't working because there's traffic here also. Be back in the yard in 5. Wednesday and I'm in the yard. Waiting for Liebherr to come in and have a look at these machines. I have a meeting at 9 o'clock. I believe they're parking up right now. There is another train in. We have mixed reviews on trains. We have some people that hate it and they think it's repetitive, but what can we do? That's our business. And we have some people that love it. So I'm just warning you. This is our 3rd train this week, and here is another train montage. This is another train montage, driving you mad. Yes, it's exactly the same train and exactly the same wagons, exactly the same LH60, exactly the same loading shovel and its flow. The same material into the same bay, driving you mad. Repetitive. You've seen this at least 50 times before, and you'll see it 50 times more. If you don't like it, hit the skip button, but whatever you do, please don't run out of your front door. But we're going to continue showing them because, as you well know, I am into trains. Are you not into trains? Liebherr doing a regeneration to solve the AdBlue problem, but what I'm saying is it keeps happening, so how are we going to get around it? And they asked me if the machine's been idling a lot, and I think yes, because I think the lads aren't turning it off. I think they're leaving it running. So what I've asked Liebherr to do, the same thing that was done with the LH60 a while back, when we put the cutoff on it after a couple of minutes, if it's not used, it turns it off. I think we need to put that on this, because that will save us from having all these issues. The repair to the silo is happening at the moment. There was one bit of equipment that wasn't in stock, that's now here, it's being repaired. And the electrical box has now turned up for the bagging plant. So let's take a look at that. Here we are. That's when the power's on. We have to box everything in. and we've got this, what's going to go on the gate. This will send a message to this. So the system will not start if the safety gate is open. Here are motors. So there's 1 conveyor belt, 2 conveyor belts. If the motor's tripped, these will be lit. If they're running, these will be lit. We've got a local stop and a local start. At the moment it's a 4-second delay, but we are going to change it to a 7-second delay so it's in line with crushers and screeners. And then we'll have an alarm going off to warn everyone that it's going to get started. Here we have a switch to turn between manual and automatic, and we have a reset switch. Here we have an emergency stop. If you want the emergency stop out, it's one of these that you have to twist. Here's our power on off, and we have these. This is a level indicator. Now this isn't scientific, this is going to be trial and error. This is going to be inside the hopper that actually does the bagging. When it touches this, we know that the bagging hopper is full and it will cut everything off. And if we wanted to start it again, we have to press it again. Early next week, we're going to bolt everything down. Once we bolted it down, we're going to wire this in, and then we're going to do a couple of tests, and then we're going to get these ready and see if we can't start bagging some material up.
Hello.
Hello, I'm calling from a firm. I was forwarded your details by, I believe you're selling your service to a few people that we work with and we know.
Okay.
And they told me that you sent them out a report, mate. And on your report, it's saying that our company is like number 3 on your list of going into administration, which isn't true, mate. So I was just asking where you got the information from, and your service, how did you come to that conclusion? Where did you get the information from?
Okay, so there's a number of different factors that fall into a category to identify the risk of an entity. And I don't really have to look at your report. So if you want to drop me a text message or maybe drop me an email with the name of your entity, and I'll have a look into the report and explain why we've come to this decision, and then I'll send that across to you.
Okay, but what are you basing it against? Like, is it multiple credit? Are you using information shared? Is it what?
So there's a number of different sources that we use. So if you're looking at accounts as an example, we have a direct link to Companies House.
Yeah.
If you're looking at directors, we look at other directorships. We look at insolvency information. So if you picked up any bad debt from other businesses going bust, we look at that. We look at your payment behaviour. So if you're late in paying suppliers, we look at that as an example. So there's a number of different factors that build the picture of the report. So
basically, if somebody went bust who owe us money, then you put us on a list that we might go bust.
Potentially, it depends on how big that debt is. If let's say you're a business and you pick up a bad debt of £1 million and your balance sheet data doesn't title up to £1 million, obviously that would completely wipe out what your report would look like.
Okay. All right, I'm going to drop you a text message with the business name. If you could let me know, please. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll look into the business in question, and I'll do a bit of an investigation of why we've come to that decision. If you want to drop me across your email as well in the text message, and what I'll do is I'll put the results back to you in an email.
All right, great. Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No worries. Cheers.
Thanks,
bye.
So I've given a call to a company who are trying to sell their credit alert services to people in our industry, and they sent a list to someone and we were number 3 on the list. So I'm trying to ascertain like what information that they're using to come up with these alerts, what they're sending to people. And all I could really get from the conversation was that if somebody owed us money and they went bankrupt and we paid people late, then we could go bankrupt, so they put us on the list. Now, for me, that's not enough information, and to make an assumption like that and send it out to people. Luckily, we have good relationships with all our suppliers and clients, but for a smaller business, that could hinder them actually trading because nobody would want to give them credit or work with them. So I'm going to send my information and let them send the report back to me, and I need to see if I can identify this problem and get this rectified. What's the day today?
Today is Wednesday.
Thursday, isn't it?
Thursday.
Okay. Thursday and I'm in the yard. Oh, God. Thursday and I'm not in the yard. I'm at the basement salvage project. Click here to see a video where we saved this area from complete disaster. Just had a meeting with a client. We were mapping out for the cinema, the second row of seating, taking a look at the staircase, and the client was choosing colour samples of some of the woodwork and the ceiling. A good meeting, but very quick. Now I'm going to head back to the yard. Just got back to the yard. Dudek's in the container. There's a job that's going to be starting, but before we could do anything there, we need to set the site up. So here's all our temporary power, what we had on a different job. So we dismantled it and brought it back. Here are all our lights. We got some twin and earth cable as well. So we need to go to the site, set it up, cap off the gas, the water, the electric, make sure that all power goes through our temporary board so we can shut it off at the end of the day. We're going to build some hoarding at the site. We're going to put up all our signs, and we're going to make sure everything is secure before any work starts there.
Unfortunately, we have an issue with the 926. It's down again. It's got some error codes, but luckily Liebert are here already. They're trying to fix it. The roll-on roll-off has an interesting job tomorrow. It's going to collect a 10-foot container, take it to another site and offload. I'm very interested to see how that goes, and luckily we can share that with you. Oh God, all my paper's fallen on the floor from the printer. Now I've got to run over my own. Oh, what page is this now? Yeah. Okay.
I want to say a little something about a key skill that doesn't directly make you any money, and it's not something that people sing and dance about, and it's not gonna win you any awards. People management in any size business, especially as your business grows, is key. And that doesn't just mean internally, that means for your clients and suppliers also. You may have great people working within your business, but if they don't get on with each other, and if they can't get on with your suppliers and clients, then nothing will happen within your business. You may have clients and suppliers people who previously worked in the business brought to the table, and now those relationships need to be nurtured by someone else. Possibly the last person who worked for you, they had a better relationship with them, or it could have been a relationship of mine, and now I want the relationship to be taken over because I'm trying to handle other things. If you can't nurture those relationships when there's a problem, and by that I don't mean stand in the middle of them and be a referee, I mean stand back in the distance, and if you hear a problem, decide at the appropriate time to get involved and say, sorry to step in guys, how about we do this, how about we do that, how about we sit down at the table, what's the issue here, what do you want from us, what are we doing wrong, how can we do it better? And then speaking to your staff also and hearing what they've got to say about it and why they feel what they feel, and then you need to make a decision based on all the information, the best decision you possibly can. But you need to remember, you cannot be everything to everyone. Sometimes there is going to be somebody who is not happy with the decision you've made. The same thing goes internally. You could have two people within your company who are fantastic at what they do, but they don't, how are we doing? But they don't get on with each other, and without them communicating within the business, they may be great at their individual tasks, but without everybody working together, there's no synergy. So that relationship would also need to be managed. You need to find out what's going on. You need to step in where needed. You need to mitigate between them. Now, once you've sorted this out, it could require constant maintenance. You may have to keep going back to it every 3 months, every 6 months. But sometimes in a situation like this, people work out their differences and they understand.
Listen, like I'm only around this person for 8 to 10 hours a day. I respect them in a professional capacity, so I'll do what I need to do at work.
But sometimes that is easier said than done. If people dislike each other in the workplace, you want people to try to be professional and not bring their emotions into it, but you don't have to sit with that person opposite them for however many hours a day. You want to create an environment where people want to come to work, where people are comfortable coming to work. You don't want people to feel that they're getting called out, or that they're being singled out, or worse ways feel like they're being bullied. So it's constant trying to manage all of those people. And a lot of you will say, Daniel likes to micromanage, just get a manager to do it, just employ 5,000 people to manage 5 people, get more staff and more staff and more staff. Yes, I'm going to keep getting more staff because all those staff grow on trees. I'll get a manager to manage the manager, and then a manager to manage that manager, and then I'll get a consultant to manage the manager, and then I'll get a consultant to consult on consultancy to consult with that consultant. It doesn't always work like that. What if the manager you put in place is having differences with the other manager and they both report to you? Should I then pay another manager to mitigate a situation that took me 10 minutes to manage and move forward? So it's not always straightforward, and it requires constant, I wouldn't say supervision is the right word, but it requires constant management, constant thinking. And like I said, it doesn't make you any money whatsoever spending time doing that, but without it, you'll have nothing left. Whereas it's Friday and I'm in the yard. Top bin. About to go over to the bagging area because we're going to start work. You know we don't like to throw anything away. So we've got some old steel here. We've got some old fence that was round the yard that we had to take out of the way when we were putting up these block walls, and we're going to use everything, all our old bits. We haven't bought anything, and we're going to make our safety area. So we're going to use these, and we are going to build out here, and then we're going to have the entry door to get into this space. It is going to be on this side, and everything is going to be completely boxed off. Along the front here, we're going to have a number of emergency stops, but because we're using this fencing, you will be able to see through other than where we put the signs. The entrance door here is going to have the electronic lock on it that I showed you yesterday, which is going to connect to the main board. So we're out here, then we're going to go flush on this area. Then when we get over here, we're going to use the steels again, and we're going to build out from this point, and it's going to go straight across. We only need to go here, which is 10 foot, but we are going to continue, and we're going to bolt onto this. So we're going to go to there, and we're going to bolt on here. Then our electronic box over there, we're going to run armored cable along the frame to just before the motors. The motor over there and the motor over here will run into a junction box, and then we'll use some flexi to connect the motor. On the back over here, we're going to buy 2 vibrators because this doesn't have any vibrators, but it did in the past. You could tell by the little pockets. And we're going to also run some cable to that, but we're going to connect that to the motor on this first conveyor. So whenever that first conveyor is on, the vibrators are working. And here is our lovely new control box. Now I've got it here, the other one looks a bit battered. We're going to have to make up a couple of new labels here, and I want to know if I can get one of these because this also doesn't look very clear. Open it up. Lovely, money well spent this is. And everything over this entire area is going to be wired back to here, the emergency stops. And we bought ourselves a red light. So we're going to put a red light at the top there, and that will be connected to this sound to alert people that this is going to start. With everything boxed in, it should be a very productive but yet safe area. So as promised this morning, Will went out and we tried to document a day in the roll-on roll-off. We're going to collect a container, and then we're going to collect the lifts that you saw me looking at a couple of weeks back. didn't want to clog up the work that's going on in the workshop. So while Ollie's having his break and Will has stopped for a bit of lunch, Terry dropped this off and he's brought the lorry round so Ollie can jump straight back in and now he can go and change a bin. That is the main reason why I bought this combo lorry with a crane and roll on, roll off, going around all day doing all different types of work, none of which we are busy enough that we could have a specific lorry to do it. But the way the lorry's built, it can do multiple different jobs in every day. Love it. Love to see a plan coming together. Last week, I showed you on Bank Holiday Monday, I was looking at plans for QPR, but we amended the plans and sent them off, and QPR have accepted option 1. So we have to give them a more detailed price, but the owner has agreed to one of our plans. He only had 2 options and he went for one of them. But that is a very good sign. So we can now move on with that project also. Builds are getting busy. Saturday and I'm in the yard. At the moment, we have 3 trains booked for next week. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But as you can see, this Type 1 bay is full. So the bay next to it, we're gonna also use this bay for Type 1 for the time being. But as there's ballast in it at the moment, we need to completely clean this bay and give it a scrape. Now, unfortunately, the 926 is down again for the 3rd time in a row, and Liebherr are coming on Monday. So we're gonna pull out the 1.5 ton machine, and we're gonna bring it in here, and we're gonna clean all the corners, and the shovel will take the main bit of ballast, put it in the bay next door, and then we'll clean all the corners of this bay. Then we're gonna move the Type 1 label from the top of the bay here, and we're gonna move it to over here. So these 2 bays will be Type 1. We're hoping to get some other material in here, but that will be the following week, and we need to create a gap. So we're probably gonna leave 1 bay empty and then have another bay with that material, but nothing is confirmed as of yet. Now the tippers have some work, what we need to do, running a lot of material, but locally, but we didn't get any of the reference number, so you need to be booked into that site. But fortunately, we have enough work that we can send all the lorries out and do other work. Their first 2 or 3 jobs are other work, and then if that work comes in, we'll do that. But also, fortunately, we have enough other work that if it doesn't come in, we can do the other work, and then we can go back to the work we should be doing on Monday. We can start it first thing on Tuesday if we load at the end of the day on Monday. I know that sounded complicated, but it does make sense if you listen back to it. We have enough work and do other work. If that work comes in, we have enough other work, we can do the other work, go back to the work we should be doing on Monday. It does make sense if you listen back to it. Work, other work, that work, other work, the other work. Nice. These things are so small, man. I can't use this because all the things are hitting me. I find it really hard to use this machine because to move the controls rub into my leg. So I find it very hard to use it. And I think they should start making these machines bigger. Because then I can't even, I end up using the machine like that, which isn't the proper way to use it. At the job where you saw us doing the boreholes, we're probably going to do an open day there. When I say an open day, all our subcontractors, we don't use many, they're all going to come to the job and they're going to have a measure up and discuss the plans with us so they can provide accurate costing, and then we can put that into our cost plan, because we are looking to make a start on that job very, very, very soon.
back of my office having a little run through of our current construction projects. Anything that isn't past the stage of advanced conversations with the client and site visits and pricing will not be on here. They have to go through a certain process before they get to this point. But this is the checklist that we work from. So the first one we got is a whole house refurbishment. So are the architectural plans finalized? Yes. Do we need planning permission? No, because everything's internal. Is it a conservation area? Is it a listed building? No and no. Thank goodness, because that makes it a lot more complicated. Structural plans finished. They're 80% done. So we're just waiting for the plans for the outside area and the ground level build-ups. Building control drawings, they're about 50% done, but we want the structural drawings before we can put everything together and give it to building control. M&E drawings, no, but we're about 30% there because we have already planned the underfloor heating and we are planning the lighting. We know all the locations of the bathrooms, but detailed M&E we don't have as of yet. Project timeline and critical path. That means basically a timeline of the work we're going to do and the sequencing, and critical means anything that could delay or mess up the entire timeline. That isn't done yet because the plans aren't finished. Third-party consultants, we don't have any on this job. Interior design, we had a meeting last week. We're about 30% with that. Subcontractor pricing, no, but like I told you earlier, we are having an open day and inviting everyone down to get it all done in one day. The cost plan is 50% done. We can't advance anymore with the cost plan because we don't know about the structural plans and the subcontractors, and we haven't finished M&E, but we have started making the cost plan. Pre-start submissions. Now that basically means the F10, health and safety, alerting the neighbors, anything like that. Is that done? No, it's not, but it's ready for submission. Is it freehold or lease? The reason I ask is because sometimes when you're working on leased properties, you have to get permission from the management. So you may be all right with the council, you may be all right with conservation, you may be all right with listed buildings, but then you then also have to ask the freeholder. So luckily not on this project. Anticipated start date is TBC, duration 18 months. And then we have an overall. So waiting on the external structural plans, cost plan in progress, interior specification in progress, start date to be agreed. So that is that project. That is so anyone within the team can have a look at this at any time. Now I've just extracted this from the main document because there's a lot more information in it, but this is what we work from. Let's talk about the home cinema. Architectural plans we have, planning permission non-applicable, it's internal work. M&E is complete. We have our drawings for this project. We have third-party consultants on the AV system, so we did double check what we were doing to make sure that we were using good kit and everything fit within the room as it should in line with manufacturer specifications. Interior design is done. We have our paneled walls and all our LED feature walls also. Subcontractor pricing, the staircase is being made by someone else, the bespoke cabinetry as well. We have all their prices in and the staircase is 50% done on site already. Cost plan, yes, the client has that. Pre-start submissions we have done. It's freehold and the job has started. We estimate it to be 6 weeks in duration, but we are facing challenges with lead times. But if you want to know a little bit about this, you'll have to watch the main video for this home cinema when it comes out. Next job, this is the YouTube room, what we've been talking about. There's a lot of detail going into a very small area. Architectural plans, all done. Planning permission, yes, and submitted, but not submitted to the council because it's internal work. That's to the building management. Building control drawings submitted. M&E drawings submitted. Project timeline and critical path submitted. However, submitted to the block management because they have asked for it. Subcontractor pricing, we have a few bespoke items, what you'll learn about in the main video, but that is already being processed. Cost plan is done and agreed. Pre-start submissions all done. Long lease, 999, which is as good as a freehold because I can categorically tell you that I won't be around in 999 years. Anticipated start date, not Monday coming, Monday afterwards. We estimate it to be 4 weeks. Overall, project ready to begin. As soon as we have permission, we'll make all the orders we need to of all the kit and we will start work on site. The QPR box refurbishment, architectural plans, yes. Building control drawings, don't need any as of yet. Project timeline, critical path, no, don't need it. Very small project. And QPR not asking for it. They trust us to get on with the work. Interior specification, no, not at the moment. Subcontractor pricing, we don't need any subcontractors. Cost plan has been requested. So they've accepted option 1 and we gave them a rough budget cost. Now they want us to go into detail. Exactly how much is it going to cost so we can admit certain things and bring certain things in. Freehold, of course, QPR own their own stadium. Anticipated start date, not sure. However, it has to be between the break, between the season ending and the season started. We think it will take 4 weeks. Overall, the option 1 is accepted. Detailed costing is required. The basement gym under the front garden, what I've been talking about for a little while.
Yes, we've done the architectural plans. Planning permission is not submitted because, is it a conservation area? No. Is it a listed building? Yes, it's grade 2 listed. So when you're applying for planning permission in a grade 2 listed area, the submission is rather large. We have to have a structural statement with it, and we have to have a heritage statement. It's not as simple as sending across some plans. The structural plans finished? No, they are not, because we wouldn't do the structural plans for this project at this phase until we have approved planning. Otherwise the plan can change. But as I said, we need a structural statement. Project timeline and critical path is not done because we don't have the full plans. Third-party consultants, yes, we have the heritage consultant. Interior specification, no. Subcontractors, no, we do it all in-house. Cost plan, yes. So we have done the full costing of the project and we've given it to the client, and we gave them a timeline of work, but we also gave them a description of the works and how it's going to impact their life. And we believe that job is 7 months in duration. Overall, the layouts are accepted, but the client is thinking about the disruption it's going to cause to their life. So originally, when we were just going to dig underneath the house, we were going to dig an underpin and just give more head height. When the plan changed to digging underneath the front garden, it kind of opened a can of worms, because now in that area, we need a scaffold platform from the front door of the property to the street for the client to get in and out. And we also need a roof structure over where we're going to be digging. We live in England, it's going to rain. So we need to protect ourselves from the rain. So when we're digging, we're not continually pumping water out of the basement and it doesn't slow us down. However, the client wasn't aware of the impact it had on their life. It's up in the air whether we're going to do the gym underneath the front garden or we're going to go back to the original plan in the house and lowering the level. This is another job for QPR. So QPR have an area where they want to close off some of the offices and refurbish them to create another box, move the players lounge round to the other box, and then have another 2 boxes for corporate hospitality, because all the boxes for QPR next year are completely sold out and they're trying to create more to generate more revenue. Maybe a good sign for next year. Subcontractor pricing, we don't use any subbies there. We need a site visit to discuss the works. So QPR have told us what they want. We've told them the budget. We are going there to look at it with them and we'll provide them with a cost next week. And if it is accepted, we will probably do it at the same time as we're doing the work with the boxes. So we'll try to get everyone there at the same time and do both of these, because larger QPR projects like this are very time sensitive and have to be done before the season starts. That is an overlook of the projects at the moment that have moved past the stage of just discussion, and maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. Gonna have a chat with Terry now about all our large muckaway and aggregate supply projects. And you'll see a while back, we did some training in the training room. We were doing the MQPC course for the drivers. We've done a little bit of work with some companies who require that, but we had a call on Friday and we are going to be doing a lot more work, and I believe the job is starting Monday. I already said this when I was walking outside earlier, I've just remembered, but that is a job where we need the MQPC card for all the drivers. So happy about that. Gonna wait for Terry to come back. He's gone round to the car wash to give the van a wash, because Terry's always proud of the van. He likes to keep it clean. And that'll be it for Saturday. I'm going to a boxing event later. Back at the boxing with my fellow boxing pundit.
Apparently, I'm the best dressed man that Daniel knows.
No, he is the best dressed man I know. He definitely is.
I had to say that because I wanted it on camera.
He's definitely the best dressed man I know. My fellow boxing pundit, the boxing purists, are at another fight. We are in Tolworth, and I believe we've missed the first few. There's plenty of time and plenty of fights to catch. Let's do this. Boxing's finished. We're heading out. Still at early night. It's just gone 10 o'clock and we're heading back. And that's it for Ashville Weekly, episode 84. Tunde, do the honours. Click here for the Ashville website. Click here to subscribe to our channel. Click here to see an Ashville video you may not have seen before, and click here for last week's episode, which was number 83. Star in the making, man. Love.